I started with you a series of lessons on personal responsibility. Actually, it's an outline of the next lectureship that Bob and I go to, God willing, that we are able to do so. And what I've seen over the years, is not only here, but especially in the U.S., it's the idea that self is the religion of the world. So I decided to try to put together a series of lessons which would properly show that self is not only the answer, that self is also the structure. The first one, as you may remember, had to do with those, and you have them here, like the millions that we have in the U.S., who prefer to live out of somebody else's pocket. They sit there waiting for the food to drop. They have no ambition, no desire to do any work for themselves, much less live so as to bring others to Christ. Now that would be bad enough if it were just on those who had no desire or no background or no history of being Christians or ever serving Christ. But all too often, this I've seen show up in the lives of those who claim to be Christians. I'll get to that point as we go along. The second lesson, if you remember 2 weeks ago, had to do with morality. Your nation and mine have become two of the most corrupt, morally corrupt nations on the face of the earth. This year is the 40th anniversary of our Supreme Court decision in 1973 that said that abortions were allowed under our Constitution, which is a flat-out lie. But there were 5 U.S. Supreme Court justices willing to take that position because it was politically easier to do so. And in those 40 years, the U.S. has murdered 50 million babies in what is wrongly called abortions. I don't know whether you remember 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Brother Floyd Cavalier was here. He helped us for 2 weeks in the class. Did you bring him here? Floyd is one of the sharpest men I've ever known on personal level. Extremely good. But he also has some other ideas that I found, well, intriguing. I was visiting one time in Washington, D.C. on the purpose. And I worshiped with him in Annandale, which is sort of Washington. Floyd, when he conducts a Bible class, he's got the microphone. He walks around and walks down the aisle. And he saw me there. And then for some of these brothers, he popped the question to me, "Well, what do you think of abortion?" So it's murder. And he said, "Well, what would you do with those involved in it?" I said, "Do you mean the doctors or the women?" He said, "Well, did I hang? Which ones?" I said, "Both." Floyd's real sharp on me. He is not ashamed. We have held up the United States as an example of what the rest of the world ought to be. 50 billion people. They murder. Now there's a reason behind why this happens so much. And that's the title of the lesson today. Materialism. That's the idea that the things of this life are so important that we're willing to give up everything else just in order to accumulate things to ourselves. J.D. Copeland was dead now, was with Frank Buck and myself in 1973. Katie was real sharp on the idea of Christians letting themselves get caught up in the things of this world. He wrote a series of articles that are published in one of the gospel papers here, Possessed by Our Possessions. What he showed was the idea that we wanted things so badly and so much, so many others, that they ended up owning us rather than us owning them. In order we became slaves to the very materialism that we sought, just to try to keep them functioning and working, supposedly, for our pleasure.